My name is Sir Blademaster Aradin of the Sons of Terra out of the realm of Albion. Yeah, mainly fight two-handed weapon, usually with a buckler for tournaments, but usually outside of that I try not to touch it because it's a little bad. Yeah, been doing that. It's pretty much my main focus. Use sword and board here and there until the shoulder injury. Nowadays it's all red sword. So right here I'm noticing that his blade is kind of high up. My blade tends to be a little more around his head height, and you notice the tip of his blade is a little higher up. That kind of tells me that he's looking to counter strike me because he's already got his shot almost chambered. And so I can pretty much predict that he's going to try to throw a chop straight down at me. So I'm like, cool, if you're going to do that and kind of post up, then I'm going to throw a bunch of shots that allow me to get away from that. You'll see me close and he's still got his tip straight up. And so I kind of just run him down and just make him have to take some blocks, and he ends up just kind of failing at the blocks on it. Pretty good defense overall, but he just didn't throw a shot, which could be nerves. I just know that he can only strike from a couple of different directions with his tip straight up. And when I know that information, it gives me a very good confidence boost in what I can throw and not have to worry. Luckily right there, he did power through my guard, which is pretty good on him. He's got some pretty strong shots, so even when I throw my guard out, he sometimes will power through them. So again, tip's a little high. I'm threatening a lot of stabs, and you can kind of see him teeing off here, putting a lot of force into it. Sometimes he can attack legs and stuff, which ends up being pretty good for him, and you'll see in a couple shots. But right there, what I ended up doing was, it's a shot that I've been working on for a while now. I start with a fake to it would be his left side, which is going to get him to draw his guard over a little bit. And when he draws that guard over, it allows me to take my right hand off the sword and toss for his left side hip, which it ends up only catching his, I believe it's his arm in the video. It ends up giving me the win too. At that point, it's a pretty easy fight. I just smack his weapon out of the way across his body because I don't ever want to smack it towards the direction he could spin, because that's just going to give him momentum to maybe catch me in that backspin as I finish him off. So I always swat his weapon. You'll see me swat it across his body so that his only way to hit me is to bring his arm back across, which is really slow and not a lot of power, which should be kind of the go-to thing when you're fighting somebody that's with just one arm, is making sure that the way that you're controlling their blade is opposite of where their power is going to generate from. Right there, he just kind of got crossed up. I think he took his arm and then crossed the body on him. You'll also see that I'm threatening a lot of stabs on him. For whatever reason, most red fighters nowadays, they just suck at blocking stabs. And it's one of those things where I threaten it a lot just to kind of see what they're going to do against it. And he tends to eat them pretty bad, which usually means that they've got bad footwork. If they're getting stabbed a lot, he squares his body a good bit. Me and him talked about that after we did the training and stuff. When they square their body up, it just gives me an easy shot to just plant a stab. And so you'll see that throughout this video. It's going to be a common theme where he squares his body and kind of pays for it. Some of the times you'll see me throw a one-handed cast that's really slow, and it's obviously bait. When I do that, I take my hand off of it. In most cases, you don't want to take your hand off of your red unless you're trying to specifically do something. In that case, I kind of wanted him to charge in, which he did, but he kind of caught me off guard. He closed in so fast, I had to recover and put my weapon on the blade, and he kind of caught me in a weird position. I luckily got it. He touches just a little bit on me and gets the block. But you'll notice when I come across body, he closes in, which is exactly what you should do. If that blade is like that, you close in on it every time. And he puts so much power in his shots too, so they're very difficult to block. And this is just going to be he tagged my leg, I tag his arm. Just kind of picking up. I don't know if he took shoulder, but he definitely did the right thing by closing in. Just got some pick shots, just working on stabs with him. Footwork is going to be his biggest problem in most of this. If you watch his feet specifically, he kind of just moves in a straight line. He would up his red game tremendously by stepping either off center, off that line a little bit. And I love describing it this way because it's how I was taught, is fighting on a triangle. I'll have to make a diagram or something to be able to kind of show it, but you would start, your lead foot would start at the point, kind of like a cone was going out. Your lead foot would start there, and every step that you take goes down the point of the triangle. So if you wanted to throw maybe for their left-hand side, you would step to the right of that triangle to the other point, maybe throw a fake, throw a lead shot or some kind of bait, and then cross your feet over, and then step over to there, throw your actual shot, and then retreat back to that other point where you started on the triangle. It's a little bit easier to see it like drawn on the sand, but that's something that it's really going to benefit him. I showed it to him later on, and he's been trying to implement it, so it definitely helps with your footwork if you have bad footwork like some people do. So I go for the stab. He ends up not getting stabbed, I think, and then just kind of punish the shot by stepping in, which is what you should do. Close in on it. If they miss the stab, he kind of just stuffs it, and I think he pushes in. I think it whiffs past him. One of the things that I'm doing with him to kind of train the stab block for him is I'm watching his hip. So usually when he's got his feet, he's got them set up, and then he's going to actually... That's not a really good example of it, but whenever he steps forward, the moment that he lifts his leg up to step, that's a moment when it triggers me to go ahead and throw the stab, because I know that he can't change direction, he can't step back, he has to commit to where he's going. So a lot of times I'll watch him and I'll watch his hip and his foot, and if he lifts it up to kind of like close in on me, that's the time I'm going to throw the stab while he's mid-step. That way he can't actually push back or move forward. He has to just kind of commit to wherever he's going. So you'll notice that a lot. He'll pick his foot up and then he'll get stabbed right there. See, as soon as he picked that foot up to go forward, I know that he can't really go anywhere. Stab him right in the chest. And I felt kind of bad stabbing him all the time, but that's the only way you learn it, is to just kind of to eat it until you don't.